everyone, a good Wednesday evening. It's 21 News Chief Meteorologist Eric Wilhelm here with another edition of the Valley's most in-depth weather forecast video. We call it Weather for Weather Geeks. Once again, a lot to talk about today after a very, very soggy morning. Things have improved some over the last handful of hours, but the rainfall totals this morning were impressive. Let's dive into the numbers. Now, officially at the airport in Vienna, the rainfall totals were pretty modest, under half an inch today in the rain gauge at the YNG airport. 0.44 today, bringing our monthly total to a robust 4.36. That's 2 1/3 inches more than average through today's date. So those are the official numbers at the airport for today, and that brings our total for meteorological summer, in other words, June 1st to now, up to 15.38 inches, good for 5th place on the list of wettest meteorological summers on record for our area through today's date. The number to beat on that very wet summer of 1986, almost 20 inches worth of rain between June 1st and August 18th. All right, this has been kind of in the news lately. We've had a wet summer. We've had some localized flooding problems. We did a story yesterday about some of the neighborhoods in Struthers. Of course, flood-prone areas in Boardman and Poland have seen kind of an increase in the number of big days, big unfortunate flood days in the last handful of years. And, you know, I think around here, when it comes to climate change, around here in the recent past and the foreseeable future, the biggest thing you're going to notice with the changing climate in our local area is the increase in precipitation. Not necessarily the temperatures. Our temperatures are coming up, but the temperature change is not as dramatic here as it is in some coastal areas and some other climate zones across the world. In our specific region, it's the increase in precipitation. So with the warming climate, with warming air temperatures and warming water temperatures, there's more water vapor in the air. Warmer air can hold more water vapor. More water gets evaporated out of those oceans as they warm. So the atmosphere has more water vapor in it, and so that water vapor can be wrung out in the form of precipitation. And we're seeing that play out, I think, around here. You know, I just showed you a list of the wettest June 1st to August 18th on record for our area, and 3 of the top 10 have occurred in the last 7 years. So yeah, we've seen evidence of increased precipitation in just the last handful of years, but going back several decades as well. In fact, when we look at kind of the big ticket rain days around here, in other words, kind of 1 inch or more, a lot of randomness on this graph, but since 1950, the trend is clear. Even though there's randomness on this, the upward trend is clear. We're seeing an increase in the number of days in which an inch of rain falls in much of the area. In 1950, it averaged about 5 days a year. Now we're up to about 7 to maybe close to 8. So that doesn't seem like a lot, but you get a few days, a few extra days now where we get heavy rain, and that can be enough to cause more widespread flooding issues locally than we used to get around here. So I mentioned at the airport a little less than a half an inch. Pretty big gradient across our area today. Down in southern Columbiana County from Salineville over to Wellsville, East Liverpool, Calcutta, 2 inches plus. I mean, it really poured in this part of our area for a time this morning, and that extended over towards East Palestine into Elwood City. An inch or so in a line from, Lisbon up to New Middletown to Newcastle. And that's a bad number in Slippery Rock. But over towards Grove City, some local amounts probably got close to an inch. But then once you're north of I-80, yeah, quite a bit less. Now, again, another bad reading right there. But yeah, half an inch in Brookfield, about 3/4 of an inch to an inch, pretty common from Youngstown up into the Girard area earlier on today. And some flash flood watches and warnings were out for parts of our region. Actually, in eastern Ohio, the worst of the rain occurred north of I-70, kind of between I-70 and Route 30, kind of out of our TV viewing area. But some locations down here, radar estimates easily 3 inches and more widespread flooding problems between eastern Tuscarawas County, heading over towards Cadiz and into the Steubenville area as well. That's where overall the highest amounts were in our region. There's not much on the radar as of this recording this evening, a couple of showers and sprinkles, but the bulk of the moisture with the remnants of Fred pushing out to the east, and much like we saw down in the Carolinas yesterday, on the east side of the circulation, we're getting a tornado risk today, and there's been a handful of tornado warnings issued within this tornado watch in central and eastern PA and down into Maryland and around Washington, D.C. as well. All right, believe it or not, week 1 of the high school football season is here. We've got a few games locally Thursday evening. Thursday will not be nearly as wet as today was, especially early in the day, but there could be a spotty shower or storm mid to late afternoon. A lot of this activity, whatever's out there, will fade away pretty quickly early in the evening. So there shouldn't be much more than a stray shower for a lot of our games Thursday evening. And we'll see clouds and some sunny breaks here and there on Thursday. Watch for some fog as Friday gets underway. It could be locally thick Friday morning if the sky clears out, which it looks like it will. And then Friday, we've improved our forecast. Now we've taken rain chances out of the forecast for Friday. And so for the full slate of games Friday evening, boy, weather looks pretty nice. Warm and humid. And Saturday also looking largely dry. It looks like the more unsettled activity will be just off to our east on Saturday and then just off to our west as well. This approaching disturbance might trigger a stray shower or storm. Saturday afternoon, most of us will not see that. So a toasty Friday evening for week 1, about 80 at kickoff, 75 at halftime, under a partly cloudy sky for Friday evening. All right, rain chances over the weekend, pretty modest. Stray shower or storm Saturday afternoon, spotty shower or storm Sunday afternoon, with a bit more of a robust disturbance coming through. Still doesn't look like it's going to be a lot. And then probably dry to start next week and pretty toasty. There's still some pool weather on this calendar. Now, a lot of school districts that didn't head back to school this week go back to school next week. Summer's kind of winding down for some of us, but if you've still got the pool out and you're going to be planning to use it maybe through, say, Labor Day, you're going to have some chances early next week with temperatures in the middle 80s. But there is a cool down in sight. It's going to take until the end of next week to get here, but it is coming at the end of next week into the following weekend, that final weekend of August. A distinctly cooler pattern for at least a handful of days. Now, not October or anything, but instead of the mid-80s for highs, we could have a few days with highs in the mid-70s with a decrease in the humidity. So the signal is pretty strong on this coming our way late next week into that final weekend of August. Thank you for watching tonight's Weather for Weather Geeks video. We'll have an update on the football forecast, the weekend, and much more on Thursday evening's edition of this same video. It'll be online about the same time.